Welcome back to the Elderly Health Physician, the show where we bring you the wisdom of Korean medicine combined with the best of modern science to help you thrive after 60. I am your host, John, and today I want to start with a question that I think is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Think about that for a moment. Most people watching right now would say yes. You eat reasonably well, you take your walks, maybe you even take your medications every single day without missing a dose. And yet, there are 4 things you are probably doing every morning, right now, today, that are quietly placing your heart under serious and measurable strain. And here is what makes this so important. None of these habits feel dangerous. In fact, most of them feel completely normal, and at least one of them feels genuinely healthy. Joining me again is Korea's oldest practicing physician, Dr. Henry Lee. He has spent over 40 years treating seniors and studying the ancient principles of Korean medicine that have kept generations living strong. Doctor, welcome back.
Thank you, John. It is always meaningful to be here. And I want to say something important before we get into today's content. Over the last several years, I have reviewed dozens of cases where patients over 60 experienced a first cardiovascular event without any prior dramatic warning signs. When I sit down with those patients and we trace back through their mornings carefully, the story is almost always the same. Not one single catastrophic mistake, just 4 small, ordinary habits, things they had done every single morning for 10, 20, sometimes 30 years. The morning is the most critical cardiovascular window of the entire day. Blood pressure is already rising as part of the natural wake-up process. The blood itself is thicker and more prone to clotting because you have not had water in 8 hours. The arteries are in a state of higher tone. The stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline are both surging as the body transitions from sleep to wakefulness. All of this is completely normal, but it means the cardiovascular system is already under a significant baseline load when you wake up. And 4 very common habits make that load dramatically worse.
That framing really gives me pause, doctor. We tend to think of heart attacks as something caused by one large traumatic event, a completely blocked artery, a sudden intense shock. We do not think about the compounding effect of things we do in our own bathroom every single morning.
That is exactly the misconception I want to address today. In this episode, we are going to walk through 4 habits. The first involves something nearly every person over 60 does in the bathroom before they even wash their hands. The second involves the sequence of how you begin your shower, something you have probably never questioned in your life. The third involves a device that is sitting on your nightstand at this very moment. And the fourth involves a drink that millions of seniors pour every morning, absolutely convinced they are doing something excellent for their heart. The last 2, I will say this plainly now, are the most overlooked and underestimated cardiovascular risks I encounter in my clinical practice. Let us begin.
Doctor, let us not waste any time. I know our audience is already thinking about their own mornings. Walk us through the first habit right now, because I genuinely do not think most people are going to see this coming.
The first habit is straining on the toilet during your morning bowel movement. I understand this feels unusual to discuss openly, but I want every person listening to understand what is actually happening to their heart during that familiar morning moment. When you sit on a modern toilet and bear down to have a bowel movement, particularly when it requires effort, your body automatically performs what physicians call the Valsalva maneuver. You close off your airway, you hold your breath, and you contract your abdominal and chest muscles simultaneously. That action creates an enormous and sudden increase in pressure inside the chest cavity. The large veins that carry blood back to the heart become compressed. Blood return to the heart drops rapidly, and then, when you release the strain, a surge of blood floods back in very suddenly. This 2-stage pressure swing, first the compression and then the release, places extreme stress on the aortic wall, on the valves of the heart, and on the electrical system that coordinates the heartbeat. For a person in their 30s with fully elastic arteries and a robust cardiovascular system, the body compensates for this within a few seconds. But after 60, the arteries have lost a meaningful portion of their elasticity. The aortic walls are thinner and more vulnerable. the electrical conduction pathways are more sensitive to sudden pressure changes, and the blood is already thicker in the morning due to overnight dehydration. A landmark Japanese population-based study published in the journal Resuscitation analyzed out-of-hospital cardiac arrests across multiple major cities. The findings were striking. 8 to 10% of all sudden cardiac deaths occurred specifically in the bathroom, with the toilet being identified as the single most dangerous location in the home. Not during exercise, not during stressful moments at work, the toilet. And the overwhelming majority of those patients were over 60, and the events clustered overwhelmingly in the morning hours. 8 to 10%. That's a striking number for one single room in the home, and it's a location and a habit that absolutely nobody ever raises in a conversation about heart risk. People talk about diet and exercise constantly. Nobody says, let's talk about how you use the bathroom every morning. And yet, the data is there. Nobody talks about it because it feels embarrassing, but it's documented medical reality. I had a patient once, 72 years old, a retired civil engineer, mild hypertension that was well controlled with a single medication. He came to see me approximately 6 months after a serious cardiovascular event that occurred during his morning bathroom routine. His wife had been in the kitchen and heard a thud. She found him on the floor. He survived, fortunately, but when we reviewed the full clinical picture, it was completely consistent. Early morning hours, blood pressure already elevated as part of the natural wake-up process. The blood itself is thicker in the morning due to overnight dehydration. And then the added hemodynamic stress of straining. The combination created a pressure event that his heart was not able to manage. He told me afterward that he had experienced constipation for years and had never thought to mention it to a physician. So what does the correction look like in practical terms for someone doing this every morning? 3 things. First and most important, drink a full glass of room temperature water before you do anything else in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before walking to the bathroom. That single step reduces blood viscosity, softens elimination, and eases the process significantly. Korean longevity practice has emphasized the first glass of morning water for centuries, and modern cardiovascular physiology now explains precisely why it works. Second, consider placing a small footstool under your feet while seated on the toilet. Raising the knees above the level of the hips mimics a partial squat, which is the natural physiological position for elimination. This straightens the lower colon in a way that the modern sitting posture does not, and it dramatically reduces the degree of straining required. Japanese and Korean households have understood this principle for generations. The Western sitting toilet is actually the design that creates the problem.
Third, if you experience chronic difficulty with elimination, please bring that conversation to your physician. Constipation in seniors is not a minor inconvenience. A study published in the American Journal of Medicine followed postmenopausal women for nearly 7 years and found that those who experienced frequent constipation had a 23% higher risk of a cardiovascular event compared to women without constipation. The connection runs through chronic inflammation, blood pressure instability, and the repeated daily cardiovascular stress of straining.
23% higher cardiovascular risk from something most physicians never even ask about during a routine appointment. That genuinely reframes how I think about what is and is not a health conversation worth having. Small awareness, consistently practiced, that is the foundation of Korean preventive medicine. Doctor, let us move to the second habit. I have a feeling this one is going to surprise people. The second habit is something almost every person has done the same way their entire adult life without ever questioning it. It is the sequence in which you wet your body at the beginning of a shower. The overwhelming majority of people step into the shower and immediately put water on their head and hair. It is intuitive, it feels efficient. But for a person over 60, particularly in the morning when core body temperature is still slightly lower than it will be at other times of day, this sequence can cause a rapid and significant cardiovascular pressure change that the aging arterial system is not prepared to manage smoothly. Here's the mechanism.
Your body regulates temperature through your blood vessels. When water, even warm water, makes sudden contact with the scalp and the back of the neck, the brain receives an immediate signal that the thermal environment has changed significantly and very quickly. In response, blood vessels contract sharply throughout the body, heart rate accelerates, blood pressure spikes. This is called a thermal shock response, and it is a protective reflex. But in younger people with highly elastic arteries, the body compensates within seconds and the person feels nothing. In people over 60, those arteries are considerably stiffer, the compensation is slower, and in that brief window between the thermal shock and the cardiovascular recovery, the cerebral blood vessels and the coronary arteries are both under an elevated and sudden pressure load. A series of studies conducted in Japan, where bathing culture and its relationship to cardiovascular health has been studied more rigorously than almost anywhere else in the world, found a direct association between sudden immersion of the head in temperature-contrasting water and cardiac and cerebrovascular events, particularly in adults over 65. This research has led Japanese and Korean medical practice to incorporate the correct bathing sequence into standard health education for older adults. It is treated as a genuine medical intervention, not merely a lifestyle suggestion.
I have been starting with my head every single morning of my adult life. I'm sitting here right now realizing I've done this thousands of times and never once questioned the sequence. And I imagine the vast majority of people watching right now have done exactly the same. This is the kind of information you genuinely cannot believe no one has ever told you, especially in a country where showers are something everyone takes every single day from childhood. Most people have done it that way, and I'm not trying to frighten anyone who has showered this way for decades without incident. The risk is not a certainty, it is a probability that increases meaningfully after 60, when the arteries lose their adaptive speed. The correct sequence is simple. Begin with the feet, move slowly upward along the legs, then the torso, then the arms, and only after the body has had adequate time to fully acclimate to the water temperature do you wet the neck and the head. This gradual approach allows the cardiovascular system to adjust without a shock response. No spike, no sudden pressure change. The heart transitions smoothly into the new thermal environment. The same logic applies to water temperature at the extremes. Many seniors believe that a very hot shower is deeply relaxing and beneficial for circulation. Gentle warmth does carry real benefits, but water that is significantly hotter than the body temperature causes such rapid vasodilation that blood pressure can actually drop suddenly and steeply, leading to dizziness and a serious risk of falling. The ideal shower temperature is comfortably warm, never extreme in either direction, and the entry should always begin at the feet. Start from the feet, not the head. One correction, every single morning. No cost, no equipment, no effort beyond simply changing a habit you have never questioned. That is genuinely something I'm going to change starting tomorrow morning, and I think everyone watching should do the same. That's all that is needed. One adjustment, practiced consistently. That is the oldest medicine there is. Before we move on to trick 3, I want to take a moment, because conversations like this one are exactly why I started looking into a resource I came across a while back. It is called the Senior Body Reset After 60. I'll be honest with you, when I first found it, I was not expecting much, but it truly changed the way I think about what the body needs after 60. It covers exactly what we talk about on this show, how to reset your body's natural systems through daily habits, not medications, better sleep, stronger circulation, sharper memory, more energy throughout the day. And it does all of this through practical, science-backed steps that seniors can actually apply. No complicated routines, no gym memberships required. If you are someone who listens to this show and thinks, I want to actually do something with this information, this is the resource I would point you toward. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment right below this video.
Now, doctor, let's keep going, because what comes next involves something I suspect every single person watching has on their nightstand right now.
The third habit is checking your phone within the first 5 to 10 minutes of waking. I understand how completely universal this is. The phone sits on the nightstand, the alarm sounds, and before the feet have touched the floor, many people are already reading messages, scanning news headlines, checking financial updates, or reviewing emails from the night before. It feels like staying organized, it feels efficient. But what this habit is actually doing to the cardiovascular system in those first several minutes of waking is something every senior needs to understand clearly. The early morning is what cardiologists now refer to as the vulnerable cardiovascular window. Cortisol, the body's primary alertness and stress hormone, surges naturally and steeply during the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking. This is a normal and healthy part of the circadian rhythm, known as the cortisol awakening response. At the same time, blood pressure is already rising, adrenaline is already increasing, heart rate is already climbing above its nighttime baseline, and the blood is at its thickest and most viscous. The cardiovascular system is already under significant elevated load before you've done a single thing. Now, the moment you read a stressful news headline, an upsetting message, a concerning financial notification, or any information that the brain categorizes as a threat, the amygdala activates immediately. Additional adrenaline is released, cortisol climbs even further, and blood pressure, which was already rising on its own, receives an additional layer of spike on top of that natural morning surge. A 2025 scientific statement published by the American Heart Association specifically highlighted circadian rhythm disruption and morning sympathetic nervous system activation as significant and underappreciated contributors to cardiovascular event risk. The statement noted that patients who experienced cardiac events in the morning hours had measurably higher cortisol and catecholamines in their blood compared to patients who experienced events at other times of day.
So the phone is not simply a distraction in the abstract sense. It is functioning as a direct physiological stressor at the single worst physiological moment of the entire day.
Precisely. And this is what I want seniors to understand specifically. The same news article, the same difficult message, the same piece of upsetting information that you would process with relatively little physiological effect at noon can produce a meaningful blood pressure spike at 7 in the morning when the cortisol awakening response is already at its peak. The timing is the mechanism, not just the content. I had a patient once, 68 years old, a retired school teacher, managing borderline high blood pressure without medication through diet and gentle exercise. She came to me after 3 consecutive weeks of elevated morning blood pressure readings at home, readings that had not previously been a concern. When I reviewed her routine carefully, she described a habit of checking financial news and reading family group messages on her phone within minutes of waking. We made one specific change: no phone contact for the first 30 minutes after waking. Within 2 weeks, her morning blood pressure readings had returned to a range we had not consistently seen in nearly 2 years. No medication change, no dietary change. One targeted habit correction.
2 years of improved blood pressure readings from changing one morning behavior. That is an extraordinary clinical result from such a specific and small adjustment. Doctor, the fourth habit you mentioned earlier involves a drink that most seniors genuinely believe is one of the healthiest things they can do.
Yes, and I want to approach this carefully because I am not trying to take away something that brings people pleasure or comfort, but the medical truth is important and very frequently misunderstood. I am talking about morning fruit juice. Orange juice, apple juice, grapefruit juice. Millions of seniors pour a glass of fruit juice every single morning because they have been told it is full of vitamins, it is natural, it supports heart health. And relative to a glass of soda, yes, it contains vitamins and antioxidants. But the comparison that actually matters for cardiovascular health is not juice versus soda.
The comparison that matters is what a glass of fruit juice does to the cardiovascular system of a person over 60 within 30 minutes of consumption. Fruit juice, even pure, fresh squeezed fruit juice with absolutely no added sugar, delivers a highly concentrated load of fructose with essentially no fiber. That fiber, which is fully present in the intact whole fruit, is what regulates the rate at which sugar is absorbed into the blood. Without it, the fructose enters the bloodstream rapidly, triggering a sharp and pronounced insulin response, which simultaneously causes a systemic inflammatory reaction in the endothelial lining of the blood vessels. The endothelium is the single-cell thick inner lining of every artery in the body. It regulates vascular tone, governs flexibility, and prevents clotting. When the endothelium becomes inflamed, arterial stiffness increases immediately and measurably. Blood pressure rises. The heart has to work significantly harder to push blood through vessels that have just become less flexible. The whole fruit delivers the same vitamins, the same potassium, the same antioxidants, and the same natural sweetness. But the fiber present in the intact fruit buffers the fructose absorption completely. The blood sugar curve is gentle rather than sharp. The endothelium remains calm. The cardiovascular system does not receive an additional burden in the morning window when it can least afford one.
The same vitamins, the same nutrients, but an entirely different cardiovascular outcome depending on whether the fiber is present or has been removed. That is a distinction that most people walking into a grocery store have truly never considered.
It is one of the clearest examples I know of how natural origin does not automatically mean safe for the aging cardiovascular system. Context matters, concentration matters, timing matters. A whole orange in the morning is a genuinely heart-supportive food. A tall glass of orange juice on an empty stomach during the morning window, repeated every day for years, works against the heart in ways that accumulate silently.
Doctor, that brings today's conversation to a close, and I think this has been one of the most practically useful episodes we have produced. 4 habits, none of them traumatic, none of them belong on any list of obvious cardiovascular risks: straining on the toilet in the morning, beginning the shower from the head instead of the feet, checking the phone within minutes of waking, and pouring that glass of juice that feels like a sound health decision. Every one of them is something the average senior does every single morning without any awareness of the physiological cost, and every single one of them has a simple, practical, zero-cost correction that can begin tomorrow.
That is the message I want every person watching to carry with them today. Health after 60 is not built through dramatic interventions. It's built through consistent awareness of the small moments that carry more weight than they appear to. The body does not fail suddenly and without reason. It adapts, it compensates, it tolerates. But every additional load we place on it morning after morning adds to the cumulative burden, and every small correction we make reduces that burden by an equal measure. Korean medicine has taught for generations that the morning belongs to the body first. Before the demands of the day, before information, before stimulation, give the body its water, its gentleness, its gradual transition into wakefulness. These 4 corrections require nothing except the decision to make them.
Dr. Henry Lee, the final word goes to you. If you could leave every person watching today with one thought:
your heart does not need perfection. It needs consistency and attention. 4 small corrections practiced every single morning. That is older medicine than anything I could write on a prescription pad, and it costs absolutely nothing at all.